only 4 of the 65 Fortnite players in this lobby positioned themselves above this line. This dead side of the zone is often hailed as the best position for pro players to put themselves in, so why aren't any of them there? Well, because it's not the best position in the zone for every team, and a lot of people suck at rotating. And this is actually where game winners iDrop and Mappy position themselves at this point in the game. They clearly know what they're talking about since they won 3 of the 6 games and the overall tournament. But in order to figure out why this position's actually so good, we actually have to go back 1 zone to the 4th zone where they position themselves on this hill roughly 1/3 of the way into the safe circle. So what's good about this spot? Well, it's a power position on the map with massive sightlines onto players rotating in the open ice to their east. It's also a cliff edge that peers down into the jungle biome, giving them great sightlines here. It has a ton of fast harvesting brick that they can refarm to ensure they have as many materials as possible after building their surge bases. It has sightlines to the Rift Island that spawns nearby, allowing massive damage to be dealt to players attempting to capture the island. And it even has slurp plants nearby to regenerate shield they lose when they're trading damage with nearby players. Yet, none of these reasons are why this position is actually good. The real reason is zone priority. This is a theory the ex-Fortnite coach and now FNCS broadcast producer Mikkel told me about that I've now expanded on. Let's take a closer look at that position from iDrop and Mappy. At the time they claimed it, it was relatively close to the center of the 3rd zone, and there were a large number of players to the south of them. The 4th zone in this game also pulls to the north, so this leaves them relatively close to the edge of that next zone, which means when these large cluster of players to the south would eventually rotate up north of them, they may potentially fight them. But this also means that they can farm these players for storm surge damage from a safe distance. The congestion side is what we would call a low priority position. All of these players have to wait for another player in front of them to rotate before they can actually start moving themselves. So this area here would be all of the low priority area. The high priority area would be the dead side and the center of the zone, as these places often have the least players or the quickest rotates, and the remainder is the medium priority area. And as you see, the position that iDrop and Mappy put themselves in was a medium priority position, and this is so that they could take advantage of all of the players in the low priority areas and rack up the storm surge damage on them. The reason they left this position so quickly was because the next zone had already pulled, and since they had their storm surge damage already, they prioritized getting themselves to a high priority area, as this would give them the freest rotates. And this is where you can form a fairly simple game plan. High priority areas give you the freest rotates if you don't need storm surge damage, as there's not going to be that many players around you to tag. Medium priority areas give you a reasonably free rotate, however there's enough players around you to rack up storm surge damage, and low priority areas suck. Now where things get interesting is the next zone.